I'm just going to activate this as well. So it looks like the NVIDIA eye thingy that's kind of creepy. So it'll look like I always am looking into the camera. Super professional. There we go. That's creepy as shit.
Disturbing as fuck.
Very nice.
So, yeah.
I hate that. It's so soulless.
It's great. You look fantastic.
It's hard disagree. Hey guys, we're back. The old Grumblers, whatever it's called. This podcast is back, and today, I want to check in. I know it's a little bit early, not the end of the month, but Pharaoh released last week. There's been a lot of releases, well, in the past month since we recorded, and also a lot of not good news about companies closure and that. So I thought we'd get together, have a chat about all this stuff, see how we're feeling, and that's it. So how are you feeling?
Good intro.
Thanks.
Yeah, that's
Someone else can do it next
fantastic.
time.
I just got a text message. Apparently, like that was one of the worst podcast intros ever. But we won an award at least, so that's cool.
Hey, we're getting there.
Number one.
I mean, it's going to say it in the title, so if you want to know what it's about, it's there.
Oh yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
That's fair. All right, should we talk about? I mean, obviously, we're all Total War content partners. Should we talk about Pharaoh, the big new Total War release?
Okay, what is everybody's score on it now that all embargoes are off? We'll just like say that straight away. Like, what was everybody's score on it?
5.
5 out of 5?
Out of 10. I'd say
out of 10,000.
Yeah. No, because everyone's going to be like, "Oh, that's awful." It's an awful. No, it's literally average. I'm genuinely. I'm not one of those. It's a 95 out of 100 game because it was the. I don't know. Fuck it. It doesn't matter. The point is, it's like it's a Total War game. It's fine.
Yeah. I mean, I was kind of the same. I was like 6 out of 10 or 7 out of 10 or something like that. It was like pretty average. It's like it's not bad. It's not like it has some really good spots. I'm like, maybe they can like. Yeah. Rejoin the call if you're lagging out too much. That usually helps.
Yeah,
I think Discord might have been derping.
Yeah, it seems like it's not doing too well. So I literally just missed like 20 seconds. Sorry.
Sorry. Yes. So yeah. There's nothing wrong with Pharaoh. It's just I think in fact it does a lot of really interesting things. The problem is it's like set in a period I just don't really care about, and I think that's true for most people.
Yeah, I mean, like bronze. When you think like Grand Warfare and like what the Total War series is all about, like these giant battles and making history your own thing, like the Bronze Age collapse isn't like something that people used to immediately go like, "Oh, really?" When like tin was really hard to get the good alloys for bronze. No,
Yeah.
And that's when it collapsed.
I wish they'd done a bit more, because obviously being the Bronze Age, a lot of the trade lanes and stuff was to do with getting bronze, but it's not very hard to get bronze in this game. You just take over a bronze settlement and job done, basically.
But what is hard? Food.
Yeah. Oh, fuck me, is it hard?
I don't even know why it's like so god like it wasn't like a pretty good hot period on the earth or something like that where they had like a bunch of food, so that's why populations like kind of exploded as well everywhere or something. Maybe like not literally exploded, but like they increased.
No, I mean, had it exploded, that'd be a much more interesting period in history. But it's yeah, like I would say about 80 to 85% of the settlements in the game are food, and yet you never really feel like you've got enough food.
Yeah, true. I don't know. I did not vibe with it. I felt like, since I always play on Legendary as well, I know I don't have to play on Legendary, but I kind of feel like I want to because I always do. And it's like, they just throw everything in the kitchen sink at you. So it kind of becomes like a bad Legendary difficulty as well. Like this is a badly balanced Legendary, if that makes sense. I know Legendary is supposed to be one of those like hardcore try hard modes, but I mean, like you can make that fun as well. But I didn't feel like that it was that fun.
I think Total War has always had a problem with its difficulties in that it's a very fine line between difficult and complete bullshit.
Yeah, tediousness.
And they're going across that line. It's like a drunk person trying to walk in a straight line. They're wobbling all over it. And I think with Pharaoh particularly, this is my take on Pharaoh, is that I think the map is both ludicrously massive, but also doesn't really contain very much.
No, there's it's very empty because you don't have interesting enough landmarks and things like that. Nobody really cares about like some stats over there and things like that.
It's all very like little minor increases.
Yeah, and for people who only play Total War, it's like as if every single landmark would feel as fun as the von Karstein Palace.
Hmm.
Because that's a garbage place for garbage people, and it's not even worth building.
No, exactly. I will say, as Ammon Messi, the gold guy down and starts in the right at the bottom. I got to about turn 70, and I realised I was about a third of the way up the Nile to the coast, and I went, I just don't really give a flying shit about going the rest of the way, to be honest. It's nice that they've made a big map, but I'm like, but where are the Mycenaeans and the Babylonians? These are the other, factions that really should be in the game, and yet for some reason you've left them out. It feels like a Saga game, but like a full price one.
Yeah, I mean, like it is a Saga game, but a full price one. I think that's kind of the problem. It's not that it feels like it. It is.
Well, yeah, it's made by, no shade on CA Sophia, but they have been the Saga developers, and this, like, I'm not gonna lie, I barely played Pharaoh. Played like 30 minutes, but the stuff that I did play, I was like, oh, this is just like more Troy, pretty much. And that's come from someone who like played a very minimal amount of Troy as well. So if you're someone like me that wasn't bothered for that, so didn't play much of it, and then you come into this, it's like, oh, this just feels very similar, and it's a full price game, and it's a Saga game, so it's just like, there's just so many levels of I'm not interested in this that I think it's just sickened so many different types of people off. That makes sense.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Sorry, go on, Fred.
No, it's just the Saga games were supposed to be like a more concentrated game series on like a specific period and a specific region, right? That was like the thing about it. Like Shogun would have been a Saga game had it been released today. That's also why like posthumously Fall the Samurai became a Saga game as well, because that's like what it was. And the thing about them was also that they were supposed to be priced a little bit lower. But now they just like removed the Saga title because people were like thought Saga was a negative thing, and they also just priced this full priced. So it's like,
yeah, I think they. My feeling is that they decided that the Saga title people perceived it to be less value, and so by getting rid of that, people would be happier to pay the full price. But I think they may have misunderstood why people thought Saga games were worth less, and that's because there was less stuff in them.
Yeah.
And I think that Pharaoh does feel like a Saga game because it feels like the factions are are so limited.
I wonder if that's that. Oh, sorry.
No, I was actually going to end with but.
No, no. I think it might be that, Total War is a very niche series. People are pretty hardcore about it. Even people who play them very casually will be fairly read up about what's happening in them. Because like it's not a mainstream series. Maybe nowadays it's a little bit more, but 2018 I was at Gamescom and I was sitting at the same table as like bunch of like really big streamers, like way larger than I am, and like one dude who owns several esports teams and stuff like that. And I said like, oh yeah, I make content for like Total War, and every single person was like, oh, what's that? And I was like, well, it's a game series that's been going on for nearly 20 years now. I'm like, oh really? That must be fun. It's like, yeah.
Did they pat you on the head?
Almost. Now it was like, but it really went to show like how small it is in the scope of gaming, right? So trying to deceive the audience of Total War is like going to your neighbor and saying like, No, those aren't my palm leaves from my palm tree landing on your yard. They're like, Derek, you're the only one with a palm tree here. I know they're from your yard. And they're like, oh, man. Nah. And it's the same thing when they're just like, yeah, this isn't the Saga game at all. Look, it isn't in the title.
I mean, it's not the only bad decision they've made lately. So maybe it's just
No.
par for the course with them at the moment.
Yeah, they have exhausted, I think, any goodwill that was left with them before running up to this. It really does feel like, and I think I said this last time, Pharaoh was just doomed to fail.
I think
it could have been it could have been a much better game, and it still would have failed. I think it's just maybe not as bad, but
I think if they would have priced it from like $40 from the get-go, it would have been just like, hey man, some historical Total War for you guys who haven't played it for a bit, and people would be like, it's nice.
I think
thanks, CA. But now it's like, what do you know? $60? No, what is it, 60 or $70? They're like, well, it's
is it
£50, so that's probably $60. But I think the extra editions,
don't
forget about those.
Yeah, you don't want to miss out. Have some FOMO.
Maybe buy the £78 version.
Because it's always like, it's an okay game, but for what price? That's what with most games. Nobody sets out to make a bad game, but sometimes you're not pricing it correctly to reality, and you lose out. Everybody loses out.
It's it's a fine. As Total War games go, it's fine, but people wanted a punching bag after Shadows of Change, and they put one right in front of them. Out of interest, what was the player numbers like for Pharaoh?
All-time peak was 5,424.
Still, it didn't change after like a week or something.
No. Let's just have a look at Troy for comparison. The all-time peak was 4,704, so it's beat that. Oh, Christ, man.
But that was a game that was out for a year.
Yeah, for free.
So it managed to beat the game that'd been out for a year that you could have got for free. Anyway.
How much did you say Troy had?
4,704. It's also beat Total War Arena and Rome Total War. And that's it.
Is that the remaster? Not the
probably just the normal one.
No, just the normal one. The remaster has 18,000.
I guess that one didn't. I guess that one wasn't on Steam to start off with, though, was it? Or was it?
No, it was Empire was the first one that had Steam. That was when everybody was angry that they had to install Steam, because when everybody hated Steam 20 years ago. Well, not 20 years ago, that's like back in the days. It's like, why would I need another installer here when I already have the CDs? This is the most stupid shit ever, everybody said. I remember that. That's good times.
Speaking of Empire, it's currently beating Pharaoh by about 400 concurrent players. Thanks.
What is the current player count for Pharaoh then at this moment?
Exactly right now it is 2,700. The 24-hour peak is 2,850.
That's
it's not good. It's been beaten by Empire, Warhammer 2, Medieval 2, Rome 2, and Warhammer 3, which is holding on like an absolute trooper, I must say. Surprising.
I mean, considering that game came out just over a week ago.
Dead game. I'll be incredibly impressed if the DLC comes out. I mean, I feel like they have to because they've charged people for it.
They have to now, yeah.
But how are they going to justify, especially when CA is going through actual gutting of expenses?
My concern is it's going to be cut down, and they'll go, "Oh, the DLC's coming out. Oh, what could it be?" And it's like a new hat or something. Oh, you didn't know what you were paying for, did you?
Is your first of 3 expansions. Do you know that guy? His stick is now a different color.
You know this settlement out in the desert that nobody went to? Well, now there's a landmark there. It's totally not Vashanesh Palace.
Oh god! So Pharaoh obviously was not received well. There's been a few games that haven't been received particularly well.
I can just feel you. Go on, mention Lamplighters League. I can just feel you.
Lamplighters League, which is a game that I really like.
It's pretty good.
You made me so hyped for that game. I told everybody, even like on my stream all the time, I was like, I've heard this is the best XCOM. Says XCOM 2.
Oh,
obviously, I'm just I've got terrible taste. Obviously,
I didn't realize the alternate peak was that low.
I mean, it was.
For Lamplighters League.
I thought it was okay. I played it for like half a day or something like that. I was like, well, it's okay, but
To be
play anything for half a day. I don't know.
fair,
Like it wasn't.
It launched on Game Pass as well.
It did launch on Game Pass, but what was the peak for Lamplighters League?
I just threw my mouth. 773. I think it was related to that. That is really bad.
Yep.
Didn't they declare like today like a 30 million or 20 million loss on it?
It was $22 million that game took to produce, and I reckon they probably made, if they're lucky, $1 million.
If they're lucky. I mean, you would hope the Game Pass deal would do something.
I mean,
pay for something.
It's such a shame because that studio obviously had was pretty good at what they were doing, which was like BattleTech and what else was this?
Shadowrun.
Yeah, Shadowrun, and both of those had obviously been good enough, and then they were bought out. I don't know like when they were bought out. Like one bad game, and then they're gutting and like getting rid of the studio.
Out before, I'm sure BattleTech came out when they were part of Paradox, when Paradox was their publisher. Citation needed.
But
didn't they buy themselves out now, so they're independent?
Yeah, they're now apparently being spun off independently.
That's good.
However, according to a few unknown people on the internet, 80% of the company was made redundant in July.
Yeah,
which was before Lamplighters came out. So,
I've just found they got bought in 2018 for 7.5 mil.
2018. So I think BattleTech came out in 2018. Fairly sure it did.
Well, usually with those things, like when you start letting people go and you get rid of talent, like what do you have then? What are you gonna do? Like you can't replace people with AI. It doesn't work like that. I don't know what was like how those things plans or anything. It's always insane in my eyes. How the thought process must work.
Yeah, it is. I mean, Paradox they had some layoffs. They closed some studios, didn't they, earlier in the year, because they had a couple of satellite studios in Sweden, and now they've closed those, so they've just got the main branch now. But this is the first sort of layoffs of another company that they own effectively. Although, don't they also? What was that game with the gangsters in it? I can't remember the name.
Oh, since
Empire of Sin.
Empire of Sin.
I never played.
Again, I thought that was fine, but
I thought that was fine. Yeah, but it wasn't that good. It was clearly like a very big passion project for John Romero. I remember I sat in like a friend's stream, and he's not like a big streamer or anything like that. And actually, John Romero came in and just chatted for like 5 hours about the game. It was really cool. He's a really cool dude when you can like see like the passion for it, and you're just like want to talk about his game like with somebody. But there was a lot of technicalities and weird things all the time. I remember I even asked him when he said, "Oh well." I asked him like, where can you see the incidents or whatever was happening, like the little alerts that were supposed to happen? I was like, can't you see that somewhere? He's like, oh yeah, you can just check your journal. And I was like, what button is that? And he was like, oh, you should be able to see it on screen. I was like, well, I don't. And he was kind of like, oh well, I'll have to like write that down or something. So it was just things like that constantly.
Yeah, they did have one DLC for it, which did make the Empire side of it a little bit better. But yeah, it was very it got very samey very quickly. The gameplay loop was very, very basic.
Yeah. But it was fine for like a day or something. But yeah. I mean, like, if you're not a streamer or an influencer that just gets keys for free or you got it super cheap, like most people want to play something for more than a day. So
yeah, that's fair. So Lamplighters didn't do well. But there was another game that Paradox released.
Did anyone hear about this? Because I sure didn't.
You were surprised when I told you, weren't you?
You messaged me saying, "Oh,
which one?
This game's coming out," and I was like, "Have you got a key?" What game? It was these. What was it? Star Trek.
Star Trek.
Oh, Star Trek,
Infinite?
yeah, Infinite, yeah.
Oh, it's
Yeah,
actually
I played that for a
recently.
couple of days. I thought it was good. Really, like I like Stellaris, and that's literally Stellaris with a Star Trek skin on it, slapped on it, slam,
It
wham,
hit,
bam.
it hit 5,500 players, so you know it's in
Yeah,
the
I mean,
fairer
like,
range.
It's literally the same events and everything. They just like changed it off to instead of Glib Glorpagons, it's just Romulans and stuff like that in the events and things like that. Like not completely though. It's not just a reskin. They have certain things. They have like mission trees and other cool things, but like it is Stellaris. There's no denying that.
Oh yeah, you look at the screenshots and the gameplay, and it's just like, oh yeah, this is just the exact thing, but you know, you've replaced that
Yeah.
icon, you've changed some colors.
Yeah, some of the
this
icons
is-
are just exactly the same as well.
There were some bugs when it first released. One of which I saw was, if you're playing Stellaris and you get one of the trader factions, the ones that come to you and try and sell you stuff,
Yeah.
and they're called one of them's called the Mutagon Traders Guild or something.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And basically, this was in Star Trek Infinite, but they'd got this message with the title something to do with the Ferengi, and the message was literally the one lifted from Stellaris, which was the Mutagon Trade Guild, which obviously doesn't exist in Star Trek.
Yeah.
Has been destroyed. It's literally just been lifted from them. I was quite interested in it because I do like the Cardassians because, I don't know, I guess I like space Nazi lizards, but I just don't. I saw a lot of the early feedback and I went, I might wait until it's on sale or maybe for some DLC if it comes out.
I would recommend that game. Honestly, I think you should try it because
Really?
if you like Stellaris, you're gonna like that one. Same thing I told literally everybody who came in. Like, if you have $30 spend and you just want to play a little bit Stellaris with Star Trek on it, yeah, I mean you should get it. You should get
I
it.
do like space Nazi lizards. I do enjoy a Cardassian. I might have to.
Because like the game was clearly made to capture like Trekkies and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
Because the Star Trek mod I hear is very good. I haven't tried it at all, but people goddamn went on about it for like I heard it like a couple of times of an hour when I played through that game for a couple of days. And I mean, if you want to go in Stellaris, the problem with these types of games is that when you want a new player, the new player will go in, they'll check out the game, and then they'll instantly have FOMO unless they buy like $500, well, not $500, but like $300 worth of DLC. And you usually need all of that for like the big overhaul mods. And it's like, yeah, then you're just going to pay $30 to play Stellaris Star Trek.
That's a fair point. It does currently have mixed reviews
I was
on.
about to say the same. It's funny how Fred can recommend one game that peaked similar to Pharaoh, has reviews similar to Pharaoh, but is half the price because it's this Star Trek game is basically Total War Pharaoh. Whatever Total War Pharaoh is to Troy, that's what that game is to Stellaris, but it's priced accordingly. It's that simple. And fair enough, this isn't a super successful game, but it's a small game and it's got a smaller price. So like a lot of people will probably be tempted. Like when it comes on a Steam sale for half price, more people pick that up than Pharaoh guaranteed.
Absolutely.
I mean, also like the paradox reviews, I never understand. And like most Steam games, I'm like, you know what? That's fair. When it's like 70% recommended, it's like, yeah, it's a 7 out of 10. If it's like 80% recommended, it's like, yeah, it's an 8 out of 10. But paradox stuff, especially Stellaris stuff, I never really understand. I never really agree with this. Because like especially the Stellaris stuff when they introduced the spy mechanics and stuff like that. I can't remember which DLC that was, but that one was like absolutely trashed in the reviews. I was like, hey, Stellaris has never been better. This is great. I'm liking everything. I don't know. Maybe I'm just a sucker for space stuff, I guess, and just making my own empires.
I do love space stuff though. I mean, I was tempted by Star Trek Infinite. It seemed to have come out of nowhere. Like I don't recall seeing any kind of marketing for it.
No,
it was a very there was like on the Game Award shows or something like that. Some I can't remember, some award show. But where they have trailers, so I try to keep a track on those and see, and it was presented there.
I remember mentioning it in my Discord. Like, oh, this is out, and a lot of people it fell into two camps. There were those people that went, that's a thing, it exists, and there were those that went, oh, I didn't realize it was out. Yeah, that's the first thing I've heard about it for ages. It just felt a bit weird.
Yeah, Paradox have been
marketing
very, very, very strange recently. I think they're probably facing the same challenges that everyone else is, like, and that's why everyone else has laid off before them. Like, they're just running out of money, so their marketing budget has just disappeared because I don't remember when it was, but they did this year in Paradox or whatever show where Lamplighters League was announced, Cities Skylines 2, and I think they're doing some like Sims compare, and it seems like they've taken on loads of different little studios and they're putting out all these different games, and then they're like, oh fuck, we have no money left. One of these better do well. It really just seems like they've gone too hard and just fucked themselves, so they now can't market anything and put in like a cascade of failure, which is upsetting.
Yeah, one of the emails said that some of the board members wanted to diversify the game portfolio, like have more types of games out, because that's always a clever thing, not have all of your eggs in one basket when you want to make stuff. But if you make everybody do something different, then you're just gambling pretty heavily instead. Because you have to have like that normal stuff. It's like the CA, right? It looks like almost nobody was working on, relatively speaking, on Total War for a studio for 900 people. Obviously, there's like a lot of admin people at that stage as well. Like, you're not putting out anything else, buddies. Like, what are the rest of you guys making? Like, that is also a huge gamble. Like, a lot of money was just like completely flushed down the toilets. Especially when they come in like 5-6 years later, and it's like, yeah, we're gonna board all of these projects, like every single one of them, and it's it's just weird.
It must be a massive waste of money.
Yeah.
So if you ever feel bad that you've wasted money, just think, at least you didn't fund hyenas. Rest in peace.
All Lamplighters.
All that. At least Lamplighters came out.
Imagine all the games that we don't even know about, like. CA also canceled a couple of other games. Well, not a couple, but like at least another project as well that they said, in a couple of other unreleased games for Saga as well.
But not been Alien Isolation 2.
They said they were going. They said there was something about how they would go. They put that up as a potential. It was shot down, wasn't it? Because it didn't make much money. The first one didn't actually make much profit. Like, it was well received, but because the development took so long, it didn't actually make much profit. So when they said, let's do number 2, they went, absolutely fucking not.
Oh, I only peaked at 10k plays on Steam. That is not much.
I don't understand them though, because their entire game series is just like making something that is like that just builds to the next thing, right? It's just weird because society is kind of built like that. We always build up to something else. Like, entire civilization is built on building stuff so that the next thing can go better. Now we just walked into the corporate era of build something for just now.
Now we build a share price, Fred. That's what we need to build.
Yes,
that's why we need to get rid of people, because they're expensive. And if we get rid of people, it makes our profits look better, and then our share price gets better.
We used to build stores where we went to buy games, and now we buy games that just have stores in them, and that's just awful instead.
Damn,
it's deep garbage.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. I read that one like yesterday or something.
So, has anyone else played anything?
So much.
There's a lot of stuff I'm excited for. Hang on, this is going to go out on Friday. Are we allowed to talk about Cities? Hang on, let me check.
Tomorrow?
Cities is tomorrow, so we are allowed to talk about this. Fred, have you played any City Skylines 2?
No, I am going to, but as the filthy streamer I am, I just don't want to be burnt out on anything. So if I'm gonna stream something, the first hour is just like, what's this do? What's that? What's this? And just trying to learn the game and then just enjoy it as much as I can, and just sit there and farm memes basically. So I never almost play anything before I can actually stream it.
Yeah, then you might want to close your ears because I'm about to. I played it today, and I remember I messaged you once, and I said, all right, so I played an hour or two. It's City Skylines. 2. That's it. It's like base game cities, but it runs like shit. Like they've said themselves it runs like shit, so I don't feel bad saying that. And it looks really pretty. And there's like a couple of changes here and there. Like there's a research tree instead of just unlocking stuff per tier, which I think is whatever. It's fine, I guess.
You can spec into roundabouts. I like that.
Yeah, that's cool. I think it is better. It's just like whatever. It's just another thing to do. But it plays pretty much the same with no DLC, which that's gonna be a tough sell.
I mean that's always what you have to do though at some point, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Like you build something up and then you just don't have that market reach anymore. And the engine is also like struggling at certain points. So you want to build something that looks prettier and has like more capabilities. You have to build a new engine and it just has less stuff. It's the same with like Crusader Kings 3 that came out, and it's like, yeah, this is like Crusader Kings 2, but it has much less. It's like, yeah, but looks prettier, and now it can build up to more stuff. So you just waste a good 10 years, and we're gonna have probably a better game.
I feel like that's the Paradox release cycle. Like they release something as a sequel to something that they've already made. It gets poorly reviewed because it doesn't have all the other features, and then like they claw it back over the years. Like
yeah, it's I mean most of the series are like that. You can definitely argue that that's like how it is with Total War as well. There's very few games are going to be able to very few Total War games will be able to compare to Warhammer 3, no matter what you think of that game, because that's literally 3 generations of games just clubbed together into one.
I think the severe problem with this is just like such an old conversation, but the severe problem with Warhammer 3 is like Warhammer 2 came out and then Mortal Empires came out like a couple of months later, and then they left it 6 months. So you were going from Mortal Empires to extremely linear story-based map. And I was just like, no, why would I play this? But yeah, that is a super old conversation. But yeah, that's essentially what Cities and Stellaris 2, which I don't think that even exists, and all the other Paradox games that come out.
Yeah, I think there's I mean, this is the same thing with Crusader Kings 3.
Yeah.
Was it 3?
Yeah.
Basically, you get a base game, and then you hope that they're going to build on that. And I would say the problem with Paradox is their DLC can be very hit or miss. There are some DLCs that do some really good stuff, and then there's some DLCs that you could basically just skip because the actual content for it is fairly minimal. And in fact, a lot of the time, their patches are way better than their DLCs.
Oh, yeah.
For City Skylines 2, I would say that I've got 20 hours in it. So I've played this quite a bit, and I've quite enjoyed it. I think it looks fine, and I haven't really had too much trouble with the performance for the most part. It seems to be mostly fine. I've had a few slowdowns, but overall it's like I'm not really that bothered. But then I'm not, I'm old, so my eyesight probably degraded to the point where I can't see more than 20 FPS. But it is a game where I think there's a lot of stuff happening that you don't really get enough information on. I think is my main issue, because I was building my city, I was having a lovely time, pretty good, but I had all this demand for low density housing. So I was like, that's fine, I can build some burbs. I'll build some burbs somewhere, so I built some burbs, and no, people still wanted more fucking low density. So I was like, all right, fine, I'll build some more. So I did. I spent 3 hours building fucking low density, literally just ladders and ladders and ladders of roads filled with low density, just low density all over the fucking place. And they still wanted more. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? Because I haven't built any other type of density housing for 5 hours. Like, I've touched nothing of it. So why the fuck do they still want low density? What the fuck's going on? So I went.
Maybe your city is just full of software developers or something. It's like that's it. That's the entire city.
So I went to the Discord. I basically said, well, look, I'm having this issue. What the fuck do I do about it? And they went, oh, your taxes are probably too high. I was like, what? What? What do you mean my tax is too high? And they went, oh, well, you need to stop taxing your highly educated people. You need to. So I was like, okay. So I reduced the tax, and sure enough, suddenly all these fucking low density houses were being abandoned. And I was like, What the fuck? Why?
Why wouldn't it not tell you that? I've been having that same thing. I'm only like 2 hours in. Like, but damn, they're showing a lot of low density housing.
Right? So I was like, well, I don't really understand why taxing people more makes them want to move into a block of flats. That feels very... I don't know.
It's probably that with the high taxes, you have to get more like high-paying jobs, I guess, to actually be able to live in that city. Otherwise, they'll just move out. So then you get like that socioeconomical class of people, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. But then there's also like low rent.
Yeah, there's the low cost, medium density, isn't there?
So when I first got access to that, there was a little bit of demand for it. So I was like, I'll build a little strip. And hours and hours and hours into the game, while I was going into my spiral of burbs, throughout that time, this tiny little strip of maybe, I don't know, 10 blocks, so that it's fucking nothing, right? There's absolutely fucking nothing there. They would build a building, abandon it, it would get knocked down, and then they'd build another one. And even when I went and reduced the rent of my uneducated people down to 0, no one wanted to fucking move into the things. I was like, I don't understand what this is for then, if no one wants to live there. Like, even reducing the uneducated to the point where I was giving them money, but then I thought, well, if I'm giving them money, they're probably going to move into a block of fucking flats, aren't they? Because apparently that's the be-all and end-all of having all the fucking money in the world. So, it's one of those things where I guess it might, if you understand what the fuck is going on, I think it's pretty good. I mean, the other thing I'd say is that industry is just it just sort of happens, and I guess that's good or bad, and I don't really... There's an efficiency on the thing, and I don't know what the fuck that does. And sometimes if you put something down, they get a little star that floats above them, and I guess that's good, because stars are good, right? But other than that, I don't really know what the fuck is going on there.
Well, unless you're playing GTA.
Right? But there's like, you know, lots of bars and things, and it's saying, oh, look, this oil industry is in surplus, and you go, great. Is it? I don't know.
Yeah, it does feel very like I'm just building a city, and the bar's just like, oh, so this is what I can fill my city up with, and then it just happens. It's not. It doesn't feel like I'm playing a game. It feels like and I think this is why, like, I've done 2 cities in the 2 hours, and both times I've just kind of got a bit bored because there's no challenge. It just feels like a sandbox mode because I don't really have any thought process other than, all right, that bar's full. I build more of that. That bar's full. Okay, it's that bar's turn to have more things. I don't know why I'm doing it or what I can do to like change things around and make the most of it.
Yeah, I'm building the building to make the bar go down is basically what it came down to. And the other thing is that even if it was, you know, if it was a sandbox, you could at least make the city look the way you wanted to. As it is, if I put high density offices on, you know, a riverbank and go, that would look really fucking slick. No one wants to fucking move in, so it just stays like an empty road forever. And also, even when they, and also when they do build it, it just looks like a building stuck on the edge of a bank, which is now raised up because there's a building on it, and it doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't look like a city. It looks like a game. And what I want it to do is look like a city, and what it doesn't do is look like a city. It just looks like someone slapped some buildings down. Not to mention the fact that if you start building low density residential on a hill, you get some pretty fucking zany looking patios. I'm talking, you've got like a 1-story building, but the patio is like looking out above the city because it's been built into a hillside, and apparently they've got this little parasol and this little... It looks very nice, but you've got this little parasol, these little chairs, about 15 stories above where the house is because it's built into the...
It's always been, to be fair, Cities 1 was that fucky as well, so can't give it too many points against it.
No, but then you'd think that this is City Skylines 2. It should be better. Like,
you and your expectations.
I don't know.
I mean, I'm looking forward to Cities, though. I played like the first Cities very casually, without DLC or anything like that, back when it got released. And I was like, this is nice, you know, spend like, I don't know, 60, 70 hours on it total, maybe, as building cities. Is very chillaxy. So I'm like, gonna jump into that one as well. I'm gonna build cities very chillaxy.
I think
it is addictive. It is fun. I do enjoy it.
I think Cities 1 really landed on. Didn't it come out like really close to SimCity, which was very poorly received? And I think
Came out just afterwards. I think.
I'm not saying that it succeeded because of that, but there's some sort of correlation where people are like, oh, this
also
years long,
super
great.
cheap. I remember.
Yeah,
like back in the day, I remember I bought it like very very close to release for like $20 or something.
Yeah, it's never been expensive. If you don't count DLC, of course.
Yeah.
If you do, oh god.
But yeah, there is that problem that if you buy into City Skylines 2, you're effective. If you've played City Skylines 1 and you've got all the DLC for it, and then you buy City Skylines 2, realistically, what are you getting? And the answer is maybe better traffic management
and a research
Question
tree.
mark?
A research tree.
A research tree where you can spec into. I do like the fact that you can spec into like having an incinerator and an HWRC, because I work in that, and so I'm kind of like, cool. I like a recycling center, although admittedly the incinerator is just way. But just get an incinerator, stick the thing that makes energy off it, and you can basically run your city off a couple of those things without having to buy any fucking power. That's the best way of doing it.
Are the building upgrades new, or do I just not remember those from Cities 1? Like in wind turbines and shit, you can put a solar panel on the roof, which is cool.
It's interesting. I did read a discussion earlier about how I think it was like skins and stuff like that in video games, like Overwatch, and how CS1 now got replaced by CS2. How if you spend like $50 on skins for one of those games, why would you ever go back to the other one? So usually they like cut support for the other one. But with these types of games, it's a little bit different, because people will literally spend like $200, and then it's like, let's gonna move on to the next then. And even though there's not like much, like insane amounts of like advantage to doing this, but I guess it kind of goes into like the whole, it's $30 for Stellaris with a Star Trek skin. So either you enjoy that or not. I don't know. It's a tricky mindset, I guess.
Yeah, it's weird. It does seem that way for strategy games in particular. Like even when Warhammer 3 came out and it wasn't massively well received, like everyone went over to it, and then over time people did go back to Warhammer 2, but not in the same numbers. It seems like they just left Total War in general.
Like Warhammer 3 is better anyway than Warhammer 2.
It is now.
There's some like people with some super glued on nostalgia goggles, something like that, that just like managed to fall and slip into those just like a year after, just a couple of months after Warhammer 3 got released. It's like, yeah, it used to be better. It's like, no, ambushes don't even work in it. Like, have you even gone back to it and tried it? Like, it's not better at all. You used to remember that you had more fun because, I don't know, you had more fun.
I think Warhammer 1, 2, and 3, at least you're kind of buying into a standalone game.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas a different thing with, say, and that's kind of the same thing with Star Trek Infinite, right? That is a different experience than just buying Stellaris. With City Skylines, I imagine people who've played a lot of City Skylines will be able to tell the differences. But I think if you've got access to City Skylines and you haven't played it in a decade, are you going to want to buy City Skylines 2? Maybe. But if you've got all the DLC, are you going to bother when you've got access to, theme parks and proper industry and all that kind of bollocks? Are you going to buy what is effectively just the base game again? I don't know. I think I'm worried that people are going to kick off about it.
Yeah, Paradox, as I said, there seems to be in a bit of trouble with release at the minute. So Cities 2, I feel like, is probably they're hoping that it's going to be their heavy hitter. Also, day one on Game Pass, strangely enough. So, fingers crossed for a good release, because I do want Cities 2 to do well. Because if it gets like all the extra bits from DLC of Cities 1, oh yeah, home run.
I mean,
just needs to get there.
It feels like Cities 1 just made its, enough of an impact and made enough money as well, so they'll just keep on investing a little bit into it and not just abandon it straight away. Yeah, who knows with today's CEOs?
It is fun, and I really enjoy building train lines in it. Train lines and bus lines is is my bag, baby. I could spend hours just building a really nice bus route.
It's clear you don't live in the north of the UK.
No, I live in the southwest, where we don't have buses either. But I like the idea of them, the fantasy of having.
You can like on a clear day, you can just about see London and see all the public transport in the UK in one place.
Yeah, just piled into one giant. Yeah. I like the fantasy of having a functioning public transport network. So the fact that I can build one and go, oh,
you don't have to wait an hour to get 15 minutes to a different town. Woo!
Right.
I mean, I have really good public transportation over here in
Okay,
Gothenburg,
Mr.
I'll say. Trams and everything. Trams,
Scandinavia.
buses, trains.
You and your bloody socialism.
The socialist hellhole.
Okay, so apart from City Skylines, anything else anyone's been playing?
Galciv. Oh.
I mean, since you guys, since we did the last podcast, I was like, I have a list of things I've been playing almost, but let's just keep it relevant, I guess. What is it? Galactic Civilization?
Oh.
I've been enjoying it. That's the one with the AI art, right?
Yeah, it's weird game. I can't tell if I like it or not. I think I do. It's just very strange. This coming out the day after that my sponsored video released. I love that game. 10 out of 10. Use my link. No, it's
Just check the money's gone into the bank account, and then you can.
All right, let me just check. Let me just check. Okay, it's shit now. Okay. No. It's somewhere in the middle, definitely. It's I know, Monsters, you're probably the expert on this because I was just asking you, how do I play this game?
I feel like I just play everything these days. Yeah, I think I've enjoyed Galciv since the first one, and the tone of the games has always been a little bit more jokey than, say, Stellaris. It's a little bit more flippant, I think. And 4 is good. I like it. But it feels like it takes a long time to get anywhere. Like, if I want to fight wars, I'm playing that game for like 5-6 hours before I get even a sniff of fighting anyone, really. It just feels like it takes a long time to get anywhere.
It seems like there's a lot of like dead turns as well. Save like you send your ships off exploring or surveying. Someone's going to colonize and you planets or building things. There's a lot of times when you just hit and turn like 4 or 5 turns in a row and do nothing. And in a turn-based game, that's not really what you want. I don't say that you want to be barraged of like everything, but like even in Total War, like each turn you'll maybe, I'm going to recruit something here or build a building here or do something. But in that, if I ain't got an event, then I'm probably just hitting end turn and stuff's happening.
Yeah, in Total War, you're pressing end turn and you're building. You usually have a plan, like you're building towards something. I think in Galciv 4, you're often hit end turn because there's nothing else to do, and you don't even have really any way to attack anyone for a long time. I want to say like you're 2 hours in before you probably get any kind of actual attack fleet that has combat numbers worth a damn that can actually take on anything. And probably around the same time that you probably get transports to even attack another planet.
Yeah, it does take a long while.
And the AI is competent. They put a lot of effort into that, which is great. It does sometimes feel like a little bit overcompetent, though. It seems to crowd the player quite quickly. If you don't, I've learned now that you need to lock them down pretty quickly and put a stop to them, because otherwise they'll be all over you. Yeah,
if you don't expand, like the second you get in, you need to be using that telescope takeover to scope out that planet while sending a probe to this planet and colonizing them as soon as possible by like spending all your money on colonization ships. Otherwise, you have one planet, and then the bloody Alteran, the blue lady, she has like 1,000 influence and just takes over all your shit. I'm not even playing on the baseline difficulty for videos and stuff, and it's just, they do seem like they are just like super duper switched on and know exactly how to optimize everything perfectly. It's not necessarily anti-player bias difficulty like Total War. It's more just like they really are doing everything perfectly.
They're doing everything optimally.
Yeah.
And when you first start playing that game, you're not going to have a fucking clue what you're doing. No. So you don't really know the best way of doing things. I mean, I like the fact that they made a lot of the fact they've got the chat GPT thing.
Yeah, you can in the custom factions. I think if you just like type in a short thing, so like, oh, this is a sentient dogs who discovered technology and now operate death robots, and then you hit generate, it does something. But it's, I don't know. It seems. I mean, it's neat, but I don't. I'm one of those people that just does not give a fuck about AI and kind of dislikes it because I feel like it takes the creativity out of stuff a little bit. I mean, it's cool, and I'll probably use it.
It's pretty much like everything with ChatGPT, where it's like, well, I mean, you can just type something in, it'll generate something, and that's great. But this is the same thing you could probably get a 10-year-old to generate.
Yeah, or you could like think for 10 seconds, like, oh, I'll write something like funny yourself, like, oh, this is my dog people. They found robot and took over their masters, and we done all the carpets that they want. Speaking of
it tends to be quite generic what it generates, which is fine, but.
I mean, that's AI art in general. AI art can be cool, but it's never like good like a human person can do. And like people who are super into AI art, they I don't know, man. I don't see it personally.
This is a complete tangent, but did you see that guy who posted like, oh, this is how my AI art has progressed over the last 6 months, and it was like 2 more or less identical images. It was glorious, and then he just got absolutely roasted in the replies. Anyway. Galactic Civilizations.
Yeah, it's a game I keep coming back to occasionally, but I never get super far with it because I just never really. I keep thinking maybe I should do a series about this, and I think I just don't think it'd be interesting enough to watch, to be honest.
Yeah, it's just those dead turns. It comes back to that. Because I'll be playing it, and in the early game when you're constantly doing things, I'm like having a pretty good time. You know, I'm sorting out my early planets, working on getting my influence up so I don't get railed by the blue lady. And then all of a sudden, I like get into that mid-game slump and nothing is happening. I've colonized all the planets that I can for now. I'm not at any wars, like you said. I'm just kind of just selecting a research every 3 or 4 turns, and that's it. It just gets into that rut of not much happening far too quickly and takes way too long to get out of it.
Yeah, there's not much happening, and there's also occasionally a lot of stuff to have to move around, or a lot of space stations to update.
Yeah.
They all need the same thing, and if you've built like stations all over the fucking place,
which you need to,
and
it doesn't tell you that you need to.
It does not, no. But to update them, you have to upgrade them. You have to click into them, click the thing, and then if you've got like 20 stations, well, enjoy. You've just researched new technology, which means you now have to go through all of those 20 stations and update each one of them with the same fucking thing.
Yeah, there is something to be said for the Total War campaign formula. Just everything is on one screen. There's no loading screens. You go to a battle, that's a loading screen, fair enough. But the campaign gameplay, there is no loading screen apart from turn timers. There is something to be said about that. I mean, it's not just them, to be fair. Like Stellaris has it. Fair enough, it's a different menu, but it's instant. You click on a planet, boom, it's there. In this, it's like you click on it, it takes a second, and then it covers up your entire screen. You can't just close it down. It's just, it's not smooth, streamlined gameplay, if you ask me, unfortunately.
That's always my go-to response as well with like, oh, when are we going to get a Total War competitor? And why doesn't like somebody else just do a Total War competitor? Because like Total War are 2 different games in one. Yeah. You know, you have to have a good campaign, and that's hard as shit to do, as we can hear now as well. When we play other 4X games, like, yeah, not all of them are good. Like I play a ton of them that just like aren't like great. They're okay, but not great. And then they have to make like the battles as well that are also good, and they have to make 2 of those games that are actually good, and they have to combine them well enough into one. Otherwise, it just doesn't work.
I think the closest I ever played. Did either of you 2 play Knights of Honor 2? Came out last year.
Yeah.
That was probably about the closest thing that I've seen to a Total War clone-ish game. It's not a clone, it's its own thing, obviously, but that kind of hit the same thing. It was a bit like an indie historical version of that. A bit more simplified, but it's pretty fun.
It was 100%. It was now it is an example I usually use when it's like that, because both of those were like, they have the same elements. They have a 4X elements. They have the battles. Both of them are hugely mediocre, I thought. Like it's hard to make both of those, and when neither of those are great, you just make an overly complicated, weird game, I guess.
I think
It's not
Age of-
super bad. It's just like
No.
it doesn't do anything well.
yeah, the campaign, once, like every strategy game, when you play it for the first time, you're like, oh my god, there's so many things. I've got all my knights that I need to manage. But once you realize that, oh, if I just like upgrade all my buildings, I just basically have infinite resources. If I do that early and build everything that I can't lose, because you just have infinite money and infinite church points, whatever it was called. But I was gonna say, I think probably the one that's got the mix the best outside of Total War, in my opinion, is probably Age of Wonders 4.
Oh yeah,
It's not
100%,
real time
yeah.
battles, fair enough, but the battles are fun. They're good to play, and the campaign side is also pretty strong. I'm not sure it's as strong, but it's good.
I'm really looking forward to
yeah.
is it the next DLC? It's gonna be good.
Oh, isn't that like bird people and guns?
Yeah, birds and
Yeah.
guns.
Everybody always went on about guns, like, oh, in Age of Wonders 3, I always had guns. There are guns in this. Like, no, there's not. Maybe in Empire's and Ashes. I don't know, man. Hopefully there'll be guns. I really like the guns. Yeah, you said that. All right.
Maybe you like guns a little bit too much.
I like the firing squads and guns.
It's a very paradox thing to do, isn't it? Like, find out what your most popular features are and put them in the DLC. And I remember
birds and guns.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have guessed those two things together.
I think DLC is such a double-edged sword nowadays because you know you have a game and usually you can't put everything in and it's going to be good, right? It's just impossible. So instead, you just get the DLC and you just keep on going with it. I know I talked to a person at CA that's long gone from there. They mentioned that like maybe not 80, but like most of what they make for Total War is scrapped before it ever hits like public eyes. And they just have so much stuff that just never was good enough to put into the game. And it's one of those reasons why you had voice lines for rattling gunners and stuff like that back in Warhammer 2 release before they were actually implemented on DLC and stuff like that. Because they were just shit to play with first because they couldn't make them work and things like that.
Yeah. I remember this is a complete like DLC side tangent, but I remember in the first thing that we did, I got a comment saying that someone thought I was defending the paradox thing while shitting on the Total War thing. Well, I probably was to an extent. I think like both approaches have their upsides and downsides. Like paradox is a very hit and miss, but the ones that hit tend to hit extremely well and be basically essential. Whereas like everything, I think basically all Total War DLC is optional.
Yeah.
Like there are some that are extremely good, like the Ikit Claw one. If you play the Rats without at least Ikit Claw DLC, you are missing out on their like most exciting units, some of them. But yeah, in Paradox, it's like if you don't have the Utopia DLC, you miss out on like a massive. I can't remember what it adds. I just know it adds like essential stuff. Let me look it up real quick.
I think it
like Dyson spheres and stuff like right.
Yeah, it's like so many things. Incredibly
yeah, the paradox is definitely like one of those double-edged swords as well because you can keep on adding stuff that is really cool, but then again you have to buy it because it like adds it for everybody. But the Total War is like, yeah, you like high elves? Here's the thing for the high elves. And it's like, I don't give a shit about high elves. They're like, all right, fine then.
Yeah,
you can go to hell, I guess.
I think that's why a lot of the paradox like species packs and story packs tend to be poorly received because like it's so weird that Paradox DLC, some of them are like Utopia, which I've just found it has. I think some of these got added in updates for free later, but on release added megastructures, habitats, ascension perks, indoctrination of primitive species, advanced slavery, very nice, and advanced governments. So that is like if you play Stellaris at all, that is like a lot of that is core gameplay features.
Yeah,
that you
ascension perks are crazy good.
Exactly. But then,
and that's in Star Trek Infinite. They have like it's like bare bones Stellaris, but they have some of those like DLC things there, like cloaking ships, ascension perks, mission trees. Well, mission trees aren't in Stellaris yet, though. But you know, like
Paradox
things like
paying you to sell this to us because you feel very positive.
I don't know why I'm so positive to it. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna say like nobody buy that shit. Get the Stellaris. Star Trek mod instead. I don't actually give a shit anymore. But I enjoyed it. I just thought it was a neat thing. I'm very much a contrarian. So in my streams, whenever people just complain about stuff all the time, I'm just gonna be like, no, it's nice. And same thing with people who's like, oh, I love this. And it's like, do you though? Do you though? Aren't you just like a little bit crazy? putting it out there.
I was just looking through the Stellaris DLC list, and I've realised that I don't actually have Stellaris First Contact because I genuinely looked at that DLC and went, "That's fucking useless."
Oh yeah, it's that's what I'm saying. You compare that Utopia, which adds all these I would consider essential gameplay features, and compare that to either First Contact, for example. Oh, you get 3 new origins, some new interactions with pre-FTL species, and cloaking tech's pretty dope. All right, I'll defend that. But everything else,
yeah, I keep hearing that it's just completely fucking useless.
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah. It looks cool.
Yeah, I've never. I've tried to use it once, and it's like I don't understand this, and there's never used it again.
It makes things invisible. I can't see them anymore.
Yeah, and then you've got a species pack, which, all right, a couple of new origins, some new civics, the aquatic species, whatever, a new ascension perk. It's like that is something that, and the story ones giving you origins. That is something that is enjoyable and useful if you are playing that playthrough and that playthrough only. Compare that to features which you'll use in every playthrough. It's so strange.
The latest one, Galactic Paragons, is in my opinion a game changer and one of the DLCs that you definitely should pick up. And you compare it to First Contact, you're like, these things are not the same.
It costs the same. Hang on, hold a minute. It costs the same. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Oh, that is wacky.
I genuinely can't remember the last time I came across a pre-FTL race that I didn't just instantly nuke into the dust because I don't give a flying shit about them.
No, I just build like an observation post and farm some science and then don't care.
I don't really care about them.
It said new FTL interactions and I was like,
those are actually like kind of cool. I remember that. They're not essential at all. It's one of those things where like if you have $14 and you're really fucking love Stellaris, like you're probably gonna have a little bit of fun with that one. But it's like my go-to playthrough of Stellaris is like the Illithid Empire, like mind flares, like basically from Baldur's Gate, but I used to do it before it was cool. You would just infiltrate the planets, and you would become like all the top officials. Basically, would just be like shapeshifted Illithids, and then you would be like, no, you can come over here and be part of our culture as well. Just go into the Ascension pod. But they were necrophage cultures. They would all turn into mind flayers as well, whenever they came up. And it was like it worked really well for RP. But yeah.
It's one of the nice things about Stellaris is it lets you do so much shit.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's the sandiest of sandboxes as far as the space strategy genre goes.
Oh, yeah.
Like I'm going to do some builds for Galciv next week. I think I'm allowed to say that. If not, beep all this. But the build is fine, but there's no, like, you have your species of your citizens, and all it really changes is like each species has specific traits tied to that species, but you can't, like, say if I wanted to be humans, but I wanted to be humans that evolved to breed really fast and have super fast growth, I can't do that. I have to play as like the Mimo or whatever they are that have super duper fast growth.
Yeah.
And then, if I want to focus on science, I can. But then you can focus. If you want to focus on science, you can play as anyone you want and just have your abilities be. I don't understand why it's restrictive in one area and then not restrictive in another.
The problem is
bizarre.
The problem is you're going to judge everything against Stellaris, where you can do basically anything you want ever in any sci-fi setting. You want to play the evil space Nazi lizards? You can do that. Fine, knock yourself out, mate. There's nothing you can't do in Stellaris. So whenever you play another 4X science game, space game, you just look at it and go, well, I can't do this thing. It's garbage.
The problem is if I'm comparing it, so will everyone else. I don't even have that many hours in Stellaris.
The only other game, sci-fi space empire game I've ever loved as much as Stellaris was Sword of the Stars. And unfortunately, Sword of the Stars 2, fucking dog shit. So, and that was 20 odd years ago, I think they released that.
I would go get my copy of the
Star Wars. It was like, I remember this. I was thinking, I was like, wait, how old is this?
It's very old. It was my biggest disappointment ever getting that game. I was so sad.
I wasn't much into space games when I was growing up. I was more into the fantasy stuff.
Just in case Starbuck is listening and wants to revoke my sponsorship, I'm not shitting all over your game. I think it is good and it has
like he is.
No, I promise. Please send me money. No. It is a good game in its own. If you like, look at it in a vacuum, in a vacuum of space. Woo! It's a decent game, and the creation suite, the AI generating stuff. If you just want to very quickly put an empire together and then play, it's good for that. Whereas I think Stellaris, it takes a bit more know-how of how stuff works. That's kind of the price you're paying for the extra detail and the extra customization. Is you have to know how it works to get anything out of it. Because if you do a Stellaris build badly, you can just be useless pretty much. I mean, you can play, but you have yourself at a severe disadvantage. Whereas I think if you went to Galciv, whereas you do spec in certain things like science or manufacturing or whatever, you could get away with anything because at the end of the day, it's just like minor modifiers.
It doesn't.
It's a lot
really
more
matter,
approachable.
Yeah, you basically can't go wrong.
Yeah. You think that fixed it? You think I'm good now?
Saved. Also, did you guys play the Terminator demo?
RoboCop.
No, Terminator. We're gonna get to RoboCop soon.
This is Terminator.
Yeah,
demo?
Terminator.
Because even know it was a thing.
The Dark Fate, yeah, Defiance. Terminator Dark Fate's Defiance.
I cannot wait to hear what you think about it because I have strong feelings.
I think it plays like Starship Troopers. It kind of looks like Starship Troopers, but it isn't as good.
It looks like shit in the screenshots. Oh wait, no, I remember this game because my friend sent me an image of the UI and it looks like hilariously bad.
But maybe the demo is so. But it was, I really like Starship Troopers as well. So I don't know. What was your thoughts? It seems like you're just bursting at the seams now to just go into lots of unhinged rants or something. It's like, is it my turn? Yes. You can see.
Oh, it's so bad. It's so bad. I genuinely, because I'd been obviously I keep a tab on Slytherin, isn't it? Who are the publisher. Yeah. I keep an eye on Slytherin, and they've done some really good games. I really like Shadow Empire. I mean, it's janky as fuck, but there's something about it I quite like. So I'd seen this. I was like, oh, this looks like it might be quite good. We all love Terminator, the big skelly robot man, and I was like, well, maybe this could be good. And I loaded it up, and I was like, okay, well, the UI seems fine. And I got into the first mission, and me, it's bad. It's just really. It looks like a game from about 20 years ago, and not a good one. It feels very janky, and trying to give like you're saying, it does. It's a bit like Starship Troopers, and it is. But Starship Troopers, when you tell a unit to do something, it fucking does it, and it's quite quick. And these guys, they're in no rush. I mean, the apocalypse just happened, but they're like, who cares? You tell someone to exit out of a building, they're like, I'll get around to it eventually, I guess. Maybe.
Exit the building now. It's getting bombed now.
I just sat down.
Sitting there like Steven Seagal is like.
It just and so because I didn't even get to the second mission. I got. Fuck, I don't even know how far I got into the first mission. This mission is supposed to be this is how you move units and move the camera around type of thing. And I genuinely couldn't be asked to get to the end of it. That's how bad I found this game.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't like it that much. Yeah, I can get through most things for like a couple of hours and just kind of enjoy it, But I want to try the full one because maybe it's better. Demos are usually like some old builds from like a couple of months ago, so maybe it's better. It's not. Maybe it's actually worse. And it's like, get out of the building. And they're like, no.
Well, what I struggled with the first mission was, I think at one point it's like, oh, you need to laser mines for the T-100s or whatever that are coming down the road.
Oh yeah, fuck, I hated that actually. Yeah.
Oh, I was like trying to okay, guys need to, because I put them in a building, and I don't know if that was the wrong thing to do or something, but trying to get them out of the building, they were kind of like, you could see them kind of like going around the building.
Yeah. It's like they have an internal like actual floors and like here's the stairs to go to that floor, and the next floor is over here, and then they have to go like that. So it's like a parking garage that they have to like run past.
But it's not like they're cohesive, and
It's
one
a
of them's
one-way
trying to
system.
get the lift, but that's gone now because obviously it's the apocalypse. The other
Yeah.
guys are going up the steps, the other one's having a discussion, the other one's found like something shiny on the floor and is trying to look at that. And I'm trying to get like, you just need to put mines in the road. It shouldn't be this hard. And I clicked on them like 20 times and they just wouldn't fucking do it. And
Yeah, I hated that one as well because it was like, you have to guard this road. It's like, we're standing 20 meters away over there. It's fortified. We have turrets. We have somewhere to take cover. You want to stand out in the middle of a road just because you're saying so? And they're like, yeah. It's like, well, I'm just going to put a tank there. They're like, I don't give a fuck. Just, go for it. And you just have a tank in the middle of the road. And they're like, that's right. Do it for Papa. And that tank gets, it's not a happy tank at the end of that mission. Like at the end of that, like that time period that you have to have it there. Because you have to have it for a set amount of time. It was the worst. It was like, that was just bad. That's the only thing I was like really just, that's not good at all. This is.
Yeah, and at the same time, it's, you need to rescue people from the ruins. Where? What? Where? I don't understand.
This is the apocalypse. Everything is ruins.
Yeah.
Go get him out of those ruins over there.
Do you know how little that narrows it down?
I quit it out and I started again thinking maybe I didn't do something right. And I did it again. I got to the same place. I'm like, fine, I just don't fucking care about this. I was like, I'm done with this. Just bounce right off it. That's it. I'm done. So, yeah.
Well,
that's a shame.
I guess we're moving on to RoboCop then. Oh, so good.
I didn't play any demos this next fest. I've been too busy.
None of you guys play this?
We don't stream, play video games for a living. We play video games for a living and record them for videos.
Man, it was so good. I really liked it. I'm so hyped for it because it's just, you move like a slow fucking tank and you shoot at stuff, and then you have like a special thing where, the targeting comes up like in the movie.
Cool.
I'm just looking. You talking about like an 8-year-old
it's like
boy.
it's like auto aim, and it's like, and it's insta shots things, and like the heads explode, and it's just the gory 80s and stuff like that. It's Unreal Engine 5 as well, but it's one of those poor man's Unreal Engine 5s, you know what I mean? So things kind of look like Uncanny Valley, so freaking good, and then they zoom into someone's fucking potato face. It's like.
It's really tickled you, hasn't it?
I just love stuff like that. It's great. Some of the faces are great though. Like actual like Alex Murphy's face is great. But some of it is just you just go, oh shit, because the streets, the lighting, everything is just. It looks amazing. It looks gorgeous. Such a gorgeous game. But then you have like the animations that are clearly not motion captured, and you have the faces that are weird. But the action is so good. I really enjoy stuff like that. The same kind of like brutal joy you got from the first time you played Space Marine, right? Where you're just a big man with a big gun and you're just smashing through things. It's just now you fight like anarchists or something like that in weird dystopian 80s cyberpunk kind of setting.
I'll be interested to know whether they get, because I mean, RoboCop was always like a counter sort of counterculture type thing, because it was supposed to be like a corporation type entity, wasn't he? But he was always a little bit like on the side of the people, and I'm just interested to see whether they go that. I mean, was there any story in the demo?
I come to lead, not to read. Yeah, there was story. There was story and stuff like that. But I tried. I don't know, man. I don't pay attention to stuff like that much. But there is a story, yeah. But you can also go around and like write little parking tickets and check if they pay their little parking ticket meter, and check out if they're loitering, or tell kids to be careful, and be part of the community as well. I enjoy this. But
I want to Judge Dredd game.
I was thinking that exact same thing.
Except rather than warning them, you just pop them in the fucking head.
And it's voiced by Stallone.
Yeah.
Carl Urban was better, honestly. Like Stallone was such a man. It was fine for when we were young, but
Have you two ever see Demolition Man? My God.
Oh, that's so good.
Stallone.
And I forget how young you are sometimes. Did you ever hear this movie?
Do you guys ever hear this film? It's called
Man?
Star Wars.
And me and Mossy is like, yeah, we might have heard about Demolition Man.
It's that quote you dare quote the text to me. I was there when it was written.
Like, did you know, like, they use seashells? How do you think those work?
That was always really fucking weird. Seashells, what the fuck was that about?
What about the scene where they have like weird VR sex?
Yeah, well, I mean, like, everything was also corporate dystopian future. So you had like Taco Bell had like survived the corporate wars or whatever it was. Yeah, so like Taco Bell, everything was just Taco Bell. I remember.
Oh, what a dystopia that would be.
Oh, I'm gonna have to get RoboCop now because it looks good.
Yeah, it was like, just check out the demo though, because it was it was good. I'm looking forward to that game so much. I was like, man, sometimes you can just think a 7 out of 10 game is 10 out of 10 because they just know exactly what they want to do. They don't want to do any kerfuffling around this. They just want to do like a brutal violence simulator with a man who is now a machine and doesn't remember his wife anymore. And it's just, you know, that's the vision.
Good.
When is the second Space Marine coming out?
Oh, they don't have a release date yet for it.
Oh, I thought it was soon.
That's always promising.
Yeah, I thought also that was this year.
Oh.
We also have Lords of the Fallen coming out. I don't know if you guys play those kind of type of games.
If I play a game that hard, I will destroy things in my life.
Well, in that case, we will move on to Realm of Ruin, which I know you guys played.
Definitely.
Yes.
Yeah,
because I just played the demo.
Because me and Dan just went to an event, didn't we?
We did.
You went to an event as well?
No,
wow.
It was an online event.
I sat at this desk
those don't count. Those aren't really that cool.
Clicked connect on Parsec. That was about it. So we got to try the Army Painter, which I thought was decent. It's not like super detailed, like proper painting, but you get to pick some colours.
No, but proper painting's bullshit.
True. Sorry.
I've been trying to paint a fucking plasma gun for the past 5 hours and fail, so...
Oh, what I rant about Parsec. This is like such a first world problem, man. It's like, I met Monsters in like 2018 or something like that, and they invited us, and they flew us out to London and the Shard, and we sat there drinking like strong alcoholic beverages at like 10 in the morning.
It was 10. I took 2 glasses of champagne at 10 o'clock in the morning. I was sat there watching a little presentation with 2 glasses of champagne.
Like, just sitting there then later on, being a bit sauced up, playing Three Kingdoms, you know. Night before, everybody had hung out, went to dinner and stuff like that. And then for, you know, we thought, oh, it's going to be a big event later on for Warhammer 3. And then it's just like Parsec. It's like, sit there for a presentation on PowerPoint, and then you just like, connect here and play that. And it's like, well, all right then.
I was pretty tempted to go to EGX, but then, well, I realized it was in London, which makes it a bit of a traipse. And also, I'm really glad that I didn't, because I saw like 5 videos on Twitter of like Just Stop Oil protested. There was, I remember someone like was giving a talk, and then there were just guys in the audience shouting really awful things at them, and security was just terrible at the thing. So glad I didn't go. But anyway, Realms, bring it back.
Bring back the Shard, yeah. So Realms of Ruin. What did you think?
I mean, the multiplayer was fine. The Army Painter was decent. I was a little bit disappointed in the Conquest mode. I wanted more. Like, did you play a Star Wars Empire at War?
Yes.
There was a Galactic Conquest mode on that, which was fucking sick. So I was kind of hoping for something like that. I think I got my hopes up a little bit too high, but it was just like, oh, so you go here, you do basically just a skirmish battle where you have to take the victory points or destroy their base. And then you go to the next point and do the same thing, but then it's got a modifier that's like, oh, you have all your units unlocked, or there's only one victory point. It felt like it would get incredibly repetitive. Like after 3 battles, I'd probably be like, I'm done.
It feels like a game that they've specifically geared towards multiplayer.
Definitely, 100%.
With the exception, of course, there is the campaign.
Of course.
Which you could play in the demo.
Yeah.
And I did quite like.
Yeah. I ain't got any problems with the campaign. I ain't got any problems with any of the game. I'm just not a multiplayer person, and gearing a game like that so aggressively towards multiplayer, I think, is dangerous.
Yeah, it is. It is very multiplayer, isn't it? And I think it's one of the things I said in my video today was basically like, I'm not a multiplayer. I don't want to play multiplayer really against people.
Do you want to talk about your multiplayer experience with your 2v2 friend?
So of course you got put in a room with Lionheart, didn't you? So you guys
best friends fast.
Best friends. Yeah, I got put in with a Spanish I think I think he used to be a Total War partner, but basically he's Spanish, so there was no talking. And yeah, so that was how mine went. Pretty much. I mean, the other thing was you said we were arrayed against QA people, right?
Yeah, we were against staff.
See, I didn't realise that. However, in the multiplayer lobby, one of the QA people must have had this. He's got my surname and obviously the same first initial. So when I first saw it, I was looking at it going, "Oh, that's me."
Oh my god, it's Jack Smith.
So it had my first initial and surname, and I went, "Well, that's me, I guess." Because I was like looking at it, going, "Well, I don't know fucking which one I am," because apparently we were the name of the parsec.
Yeah, it was like
VPN.
It was like AX Demo 06 or something.
Yeah, exactly. So, but I saw my name and I went, "I guess I'm that one." So I was trying to click that one and go, "Not doing anything."
I don't think that's the
Really
game's fault, to be fair.
No, it wasn't the game's fault. It was my fault, but I didn't understand what was going on. But what I was going to say was
confusing experience for you.
Right? But we played like 3 matches, I think, and we won one of them and lost another one. And then the last one, I think, because we were at that point, I kind of felt like I kind of got a handle on what was going on. So I was like, okay, this is fine. We had like a map with 3 bridges, and each of the objectives was on a bridge. And I was like, okay, I'm going to push a little bit. I'm retreating my guys when they're too badly wounded, and we're going to, push back when I've got some reinforcements, that kind of thing. Doing fine. We got our opponents down to, I think it was like 56 victory points. So you start up with 750, and obviously as you control the points, it drops. We had about, I don't know, like 650 victory points left. So, this was fucking in the bag, right?
Oh, so you would think.
At that point, I think the QA people went, "This is the last match. Time to take the fucking gloves off," and they wiped the floor with us. Not even close. From like 56 victory points, they fucking annihilated us from that point on.
Damn.
Wasn't even.
We either got like people who were super nice, or me and Lionel were just like, just that good. So we were decimating.
I guarantee you just got people that were being really nice. Our people just did not give a shit. It's just fucking curb stomped us.
The worst thing that happened to us is, the Lord of Change, the big Siege final unit. It has an ability, which is, first of all, obscenely overpowered. It costs like 300 realm stone, and it does damage in an area that basically takes up your entire screen. So it wipes out everything constantly, but it crashed the game twice.
Ooh.
So 2 of our matches ended by one of us unlocking that, using the ability, and then immediately crashing the server.
Oh, shit.
So that's pretty rad. Yeah, you can tell how much they're gearing it towards multiplayer because of how much time we got for multiplayer compared to everything else. We had like an hour to look at the Army Painter and Conquest, and then like 2 or 3 hours for multiplayer, and it was just.
I think it was literally none. They did like 1 hour. It was you got to play with yourself, and then it was another hour, and you were in the 2v2s. It was very, considering this is the first time I played that game. I was dropped in the deep end. I didn't have a fucking clue what I was doing.
Yeah, it was. I've attended most of the other ones. So I'd like played the campaign and stuff, so I had a bit of a clue what was going on. But yeah, if they just dropped you in, then they're immediately like, right, 2v2s. And they cooked you so bad, putting you with a non-English speaker. That is rough.
I mean, he speaks English. He just didn't really speak English very much. So.
Fair enough. I thought it was like completely Spanish, not a single word of translation.
No, I think he was one of the guys at the Three Kingdoms event.
Yeah, I was just gonna say because I'm guessing it was like alphabetical or something.
I mean, Colonel, Lion, unless it goes off real names. Yeah, was his name also Jack Smith?
I don't want to say his name in case I can write it
we
here.
ain't going to dox no one.
Start with an M. Anyway, yeah. So it was fine, but yeah, I like it. I'm probably going to play the campaign through, but I'm probably not going to play the multiplayer because I just don't.
Tell you what, you can join my team. Me and Lionheart, we can go into 3v3s. Me and my close personal friend who I spoke to like twice in my life.
Sounds good. Let's do that. Yeah. So otherwise, it seems fine.
Yep.
Well, personally, the demo, like I thought it was pretty mid. I was pretty mid hype, and I was like, I didn't really care that much. We'll probably play it, play the demo. I was like, this seems good. I'll play the campaign. I'm probably gonna enjoy it. Went from like a 5 out of 10 to like 7 or 8 out of 10. I was like, man, I'm probably gonna enjoy this quite a bit.
It makes Stormcast Eternals seem interesting, which is good.
Yeah, all the factions are fun. I think a little bit samey, but fun.
I do think most of the difference is in their abilities more than anything else.
Yeah, definitely. This is one of the things I've said about this most recent preview. Is like, now I've played all the factions. Until you get to like tier 3 units, they all feel more or less the same, especially at the start, which, excuse me, I get why. It's to keep all the factions approachable. So if you played Stormcast, like, okay, now I want to try Siege. You're not just like suddenly like, what the fuck is going on? But I don't know. It'd be nice to see a bit more. I think it's coming from Total War, where everyone is just so drastically different. It's like right from the gate. Well, most of the time. Talking about Warhammer Total War, not historical. But yeah, I don't know. That's it. I ain't got anything else to say about it. I ran out of points.
But Relic had some layoffs as well, haven't they?
Everyone's had bloody layoffs.
Yeah, after Company of Heroes 3.
Yeah. Wait, was it Relic or Frontier? Was I thinking about
Frontier?
Frontier, yeah. Have had. I was thinking Relic because I always think Dawn of War when I play Realms of Ruin, but no, it's Frontier.
Yeah, I mean, Company of Heroes. I played that exactly the same as Dawn of War 3. I was like, wait, the World War II people like this? Because I felt it was just like Dawn of War 3, which is never really liked. But they did send me like dog tags with my like I said, nerdery Fred on, which is pretty cool. So.
Nice.
I mean, I can't really be angry at them. I'm a little survival kid and shit, so I mean, like Company of Heroes 3, I just didn't like it.
I always feel bad when like you get sent some shit for a game and then it does poorly. It's like, oh, like I think Realms of Ruin reminds me very much. Did either of you two play Iron Harvest?
No, but I did see it.
It's a very
I saw a lot.
Similar game that was like an old World War history, where there was giant mechs and stuff. It's really cool setting, and the campaign mode was really, really good. But I think they, again, tried to focus into multiplayer, and the game just died because no one was playing it. And
it's hard to do like a single player mode, I think, because then you have to go into like actually make a 4X game, I think.
Yeah, they did add a world map thing later on, but it just, like, you'd play it once or twice, and that was it. Sadly.
I think sometimes it's fine that games are like this.
Yeah,
I think a single player game should exist for strategy as well. It's like those single player story games. They're fine to play like that, I think.
Yeah, it's
like good old Sacrifice.
It's weird that it seems like every game needs to last forever now, or it's considered a failure.
Nobody remembers Sacrifice. That's fine.
I remember Sacrifice.
That's a wonky game.
It was the one with the 5 gods, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, so a lot of gods at least. I don't know if it was 5. Probably, yeah, it was 5. Yeah.
Is this even on Steam?
The Earthworm Jim one, and
like a fire one, an earth one.
You had like 2 good, 2 evil, and then 1 neutral, and the neutral one was the one that was behind everything. Spoilers, but it's it's like a 30-year-old game at this point.
Yeah.
Well, you should.
It looked really cool back in the day, though.
It did. It was
a volcano in the middle of everything.
Yeah, it was. I mean, at the time, it was revolutionary. I mean, it wasn't a very good game, but it was revolutionary.
I thought it was good. It was like a technical marvel as well. It's kind of like Black and White one. It was technical marvel. It's really cool. Did you know that the dude who like made the creature AI for Black and White, when you can train your creature, later on went and like started DeepMind? One of the main dudes for that is like, yeah, this I can make a tiger fling poop at villagers all the time. It's like, oh really? What are you gonna do later on? DeepMind, you'll see.
That's a transferable skill set, I reckon.
Yeah,
the kind of person that ends up with like a volcano-based start with orange jumpsuited goons, isn't it? With a laser arm aimed at every major city on the planet.
Yeah. We also had. You guys played anything else, by the way? Check your Steam recent one.
I've been playing Frostpunk again because I saw a trailer for the second one. I'm really fucking excited.
Oh yeah,
I love Frostpunk so much.
Frostpunk is cool. I never finished it though.
Oh, you're missing out.
Maybe I should go back and do that.
I've been replaying all the stuff. I kind of want to do spoilers. I kind of want to do like a story explanation because the story is told just like in text, but it's got some really cool like tidbits.
Just in text.
I know. I need video.
Boomer shit.
We've already established that Fred needs to lead, not read. So
yeah, exactly. I'm not gonna read.
But yeah, it's really good. All the DLCs are like most of them are decent. Some of the scenarios actually whoop your ass, but it's a really great game. The soundtrack is magnificent. I can't wait for the second one. Coming next year, possibly.
Yeah, a cool little strategy game that I played as well is These Doomed Isles. Do you guys ever try it?
No.
It's like a little strategy game, like little 8-bit graphics, and then you get like cards. It's also a card game for building everything, for attacks and stuff like that. It's pretty cool.
This looks very cute.
It was pretty nice, honestly. I spent a couple of hours on.
Sure.
It does look cool.
Sure. Is there any other news, or should we wrap up with one cute game from each of us? I've got one.
Oh. I haven't played anything else. The only other thing I've been playing is Total War Napoleon.
That's cute.
Oh, really? Was it nice going back to?
It was actually, because I really like games where people just stand in lines and take pot shots at each other.
I actually played that one for the first time. I think it was this year because I played every single Total War game except for Napoleon, and I was like, well, I just play that on stream then. I just played it for like a day, and I was like, I'm not enjoying this at all. This is like my intuition why I never played this from the get-go. I was completely correct. I completely did not enjoy it at all. Not for me.
I love it. You line up your people, you have your artillery, you start the battle, you go off, you have a cup of tea, you come back, you sit there, you drink your cup of tea, you have some Marmite on toast or something. It's just very relaxing. It makes me feel like I'm a British general. Like I'm just watching all these people. I'm not watching all these 20-year-olds just getting shot to death. I'm going, this is great. I'm so far behind the lines. No one's going to fucking reach me here, mate. It's just nice. I just like watching people. I like watching cannonballs hit people. I'm a simple man with simple tastes.
That's fair. That's fair.
Was there any other news, or is that it?
Well, Cyber Knight's Flashpoint is coming out. Well, it just came out as well, like yesterday. Coming out to like 87 positive reviews. That's a squad tactics heist RPG in a cyberpunk setting.
Ooh.
10 years in the making. Build your crew of hackers, mercs, and malcontents wisely. In my own words.
Have you played it?
No, I haven't. I'm actually looking forward to trying it out because my chat has been going on about it. They're like, "Oh yeah, it's really good." It's like, all right, well, I'll try it then.
I only got 24 reviews, but
okay,
well, like
so
they don't have any taste because they're in my chat anyway. So like,
I played the demo in the last Next Fest, and I quite liked the demo mission, but and they might have changed this, so this might be complete bollocks, but. When you then go back to like your like little hub place where you're planning your heists, fuck me, was there a lot of talk? People just wanted to come and talk to you. It was like an entire fucking novel of book. And I just went, I don't fucking next. I do not give a fuck what you're talking about. Go away.
Sometimes it's just like that. It's like in Starfield when you're starting out, and it's like everybody just has something to say to you. You're just it's like walking around a museum and everybody has some information for you. So you're just like. Oh, hey, I just want to buy a coffee. Did you hear about Mildred? It's like, and he's like going away instead, just backing off. It's like, I don't want to start this quest. I don't want to start anything. I want to be a space pirate.
It's good that Bethesda's just making the exact same fucking games they have been for years.
This one's in space.
Yeah, well, this one is way different as well. And that's why it kind of died off as well, because it was, hugely popular. It was one of the most best-selling games now for 2023 this year. It's like top 7 or something like that, just like after 1 month of release.
It dropped to mix.
Nobody talks about it nobody talks about it anymore because it's just everybody got disenchanted with it very quickly.
It's not Baldur's Gate 3. It's nowhere near as horny. No one cares.
Well, I personally think it's like the what you call this, like the pacing, because you kind of go in somewhere. So if you want to go talk to somebody to do a quest, you like land, you do loading screen into the system, loading screen down, and it's like that's just 5 seconds in between, just in menus, and then you're down there, and then you're like, okay, I'm gonna go leave the ship, loading screen out, run over there, takes about 30 seconds. Then you're gonna go into the elevator, and it's loading screen down. You're gonna run to the next place, loading screen into that building, and then you're gonna talk to that dude who you don't care about. You're gonna run out, loading screen, loading screen, loading screen, loading screen, up into the atmosphere again, or in orbit, loading screen into the next place, and then you just like go into that galaxy, and it's loading screen down, and you're like, it's just an amazing amount of loading screens. I just cannot fathom it anymore. So I just stopped giving a shit about it. I think most people did as well. Because somebody checked that, like in Witcher 3, I think it was, every single point of interest is about 40 seconds in between. Because you're not going to run straight between them and stuff like that. So you're just going to find stuff eventually when you run around. So it's like 45 seconds or so like that in between them. But in Starfield, it's like 4 minutes or something, 4 or 5 minutes in between. Because everything is just so dead as well. So I don't know.
It did remind me a bit of Elite Dangerous in that you can go to any planet, but
why would you?
but they all, in the same way that every Star Trek original series planet looked like some quarry outside of Los Angeles. Every single planet looked basically the same. So you're like, well, why do I care?
Yeah, procedural generation just becomes so dull after like 5 planets.
Dull.
Because it's like, Fred, I think you described Kislev as being like just a brown cake where everything is just okay. That's what procedural generation ends up being. Like, I've played quite a bit of Elite Dangerous, and this planet is grey. This one is brown. That is like the only difference. There is maybe a different base on it. There's maybe different resources, but at the end of the day, it's a big fucking rock in space.
Template.
Yeah,
the base will be a template which will look like 100 million other bases scattered throughout the galaxy, and it's just, why would you care? Why is there? And I think that's the problem with Starfield for me, is the fact that one of the best things about Skyrim was the fact that when you played the game for the first time, you would find all this really cool shit just lying around. Like, you would go somewhere you hadn't intended to be there, and there's a house there, and the door's locked, but look, there's a note here that says there's a key from someone, from like this man to his daughter, that the key is under this rock over here, and look, that's there's a key there, and then you can get into the house and there's more stuff there, and it's all that sort of environmental storytelling, which is great, but you can't environmental storytell on a grey fucking rock.
Then it's just procedurally generated as well when you actually land there. So you actually have to go look for like interesting things. It's like, can I find anything fun here? When Skyrim or any of the other Bethesda games, you would just go into a direction you would just find stuff instead.
Yeah, the handcrafted world, even though it's not replayable in like the traditional sense, it's like I could probably pick up Skyrim now and like going and seeing the giants for the first time, or the mammoths walking across Whiterun, or like just walking down from the cave of Helgen and seeing Riverrun and seeing the standing stones. It's like all these iconic things that I remember. Whereas in procedural generation, I ain't played Starfield, so I'll have to use Elite Dangerous. It's like, I remember I once drove really far away from my ship, and then it set off and couldn't land. So I had to basically like drive down a cliff for 20 minutes, and then it could land to pick me up. Like there's just nothing memorable about procedural generation, because it all just becomes the same.
It's just a grey amorphous blob of nothingness.
Just the big average. I mean, sometimes you'll get some cool stuff. Like you'll find a world that like looks, and you can like see a cool eclipse, or you see like an asteroid belt, and it's beautiful. And then you look at it and think, wow, that's pretty. Anyway.
Yeah. I'm going to spend the next 20 minutes now flying to this far off space station.
Pretty much. But yeah.
Sorry, I'm just dragging you guys into more and more conversations here, but did you guys play Dark Tide with the class overhaul?
I did play like 2 games. I didn't play enough because I didn't have anyone to play with, sad.
Oh, I'll play with you.
I'll play with you as well.
And in Dark Side as well.
Yeah, I'm alright.
Because I haven't, and I want to try it, but I really hate playing with randoms. I don't want to play with randoms.
No, we absolutely can. We'll discuss that and when after this. But yeah, I played a little bit and respect my Zealot and made like 3 different builds. I haven't played it enough to get a good feel for it, but just initially looking at it, it's a big improvement.
Yeah. I think it's like, this is how it should have been at release.
It seems like they've taken the stuff from Vermintide, where each character, like Saltspire or whatever his name is, you had 3 different builds. And there were different skill trees and stuff, but like you were stuck in that build, whereas this is just like there is one skill tree for the Zealot, but then you can go wherever you want on it. So you can pick up the Incendiary Grenade and then have the charging ability or the aura ability. Adding new abilities. Excellent work, guys. It gives you a lot of freedom without feeling too bland. I think they've struck a really good balance.
Yeah, I think it's funny how 2 games got their skill overhauled and made it so that should have been from the get-go, like roughly at the same time, because Cyberpunk did the same thing as well. Like Cyberpunk was good. I enjoyed it at least at release. I know a lot of people have problems with it, but I enjoy it. Now it's just like, yeah, now it's a really good game as well.
Yes. Cyberpunk has like the most likable, like some of the most likable characters in games. Like the romance options in those games, I'm straight up simping over every single romance option I meet. I'm just like, oh, Panam, I love you. I'll do anything for you, my queen.
Okay, I'm with you on Panam. Yeah, yeah. Those trousers are tweet.
It's not that. It's just, anyway, I'm not going to gush about a fake woman.
Yeah.
When my actual girlfriend's asleep in the next room, she'll come in and throttle me if I do.
What she doesn't know won't hurt her.
But yeah, I need
what
to
happens
go
in
back
Night City stays in Night City.
Absolutely, I need to go back and play Cyberpunk again. I kind of want to try female V, but I don't want to miss Panam, you know. Yeah. But the problem is, I finished playing it like 3 months ago. So it's like,
why?
I don't know. I just decided I was like, okay, I'm finally going to play it. I didn't realize that it was before any of this stuff got announced. It might not have been 3 months ago. It's probably a lot longer ago, but it was before any of this stuff got announced. And so it's like, it's a bit fresh in my mind still. So I'll probably play it next year.
I made like the first time I played through it, I was a Sandevistan Katana man, and now I'm like, I enjoy that a lot. So I'm gonna make that a second time for my second playthrough as well with the exact same things.
Want to see me do it again?
But I'm gonna look more unhinged with like a more silvery mullet or something and gold teeth, and just run around and do the same thing, and it's just better.
I did something similar, but with the punchy, when you got
the gorilla arms.
Yeah,
the gorilla arms. That's it. And there was this amazing bit where I can't remember, it was one of the missions where you're like running through a warehouse or something, and this NPC kind of like poked his head out from behind this box, and I just went boom, and his head exploded, and I laughed my ass off. It was so fucking funny. So yeah, I probably just want to run around punching people again because it's just great.
Yeah. That was gorilla arms. I think are better now as well. You even get Warhammers if you want to go into that skill tree as well.
It's kind of like punching people's heads off. To be honest, it's just
fair.
Watching their melons explode as your fist goes through them is therapeutic.
Yeah, I can't wait to play the second one in 30 years.
At some point,
it's probably not even that much of an overestimate.
So Fred, have you actually played Phantom Liberty then? Have you finished it?
I haven't finished Phantom Liberty. No, I was starting to do it on stream, and then I've just been doing it piecemeal on stream, so I'm not done with it. I'm been playing side mission stuff like that off stream though, and just enjoying the build. So I'm like, a cool little level 56 or something like that, and gonna go through that. But I'm playing on like the hardest difficulty, which is shit. So it's always nice being a little bit over leveled for that one.
So how long have you been playing it then? Like, how much content is there?
For the new stuff? Oof,
yeah.
Dude, that is a good question. There's I don't know, man. I started playing it as well for the updates, and everything is new, so I'm just enjoying everything. Like map games are kind of like crack to me, so I'm just like, ooh, what's this over here? Ooh, what's that over
Ubisoft's
there? Like
target market.
Dude, definitely. Like I'm the one who actually like looking forward to every single new Ubisoft thing. And I'll tell you this as well. I go
up a tall place and it shows me all the floor.
Yeah, and I go and I see a waterfall and I'm like, there's probably something behind this. Sometimes there isn't, and that's bullshit.
That is
but
bullshit.
A lot of the time, there is something, and that's great. But you know, I love those games. The best part, look, as a streamer, I love this. I love it when I get like a little bit of early access, maybe like just a couple of hours, something like that, to like a new Assassin's Creed game or anything like that. Because the most unhinged people come into chat always. Like people hate Ubisoft with a passion, and they just go look for like Ubisoft's things, and they say the most unhinged things constantly. And I just like kind of revel in it because they'll say stuff like, when I was playing Valhalla, people would just nitpick and just hate on the absolute worst things. It's like, look at the longbow; it's so fast. How should they think about that? Like, why do they even make these games anymore? And my favorite one that I just will remember forever. Someone was like, look at that cloak; it's so wooden. Ubisoft should just shut down. It's like, yeah, totally, dude.
Jesus Christ.
You know,
People are unhinged.
I'm
Yeah.
I'm so excited for the Avatar game, and I'm so prepared for it to be shit. But I love the first Avatar film, which I know is like, it's such a mid film, but I just fucking love it. It's the world building and the visualness. I still haven't seen the second one because no one will watch it with
Ubisoft's
me.
making that one as well. That one and the
Yep.
Star Wars game.
Yep.
And I'll say this: those games, like all those games, are hit or miss. A lot of them aren't like perfect through and through. They have like some parts are good and some parts are bad, even in the good ones. But like, if you go up to like, if you actually talk to Egyptologists or like historians and things like that, and it's like, what's the best representation of like a city or like that time, like that piece of time or something like that, they'll say like the Ubisoft games. Like if you talk to Egyptologists, they'll say that like Assassin's Creed Origins is the best representation of that time because they do like stuff really historically accurate. Like obviously not death traps inside the actual pyramids, but like how stuff looks if you would just like walk around there. And that's why they have the history guided tours and stuff like that in them as well. And like how it looks in Scandinavia 1,000 years ago, and or like in occupied England 1,000 years ago, and things like that. Like it's the best representations. So regardless of what you think about them, they do really, really cool environmental like work when they actually model stuff and actually do really cool levels. So having those dudes make a Star Wars game and an Avatar game is like, you know, half of the work is already done.
Yeah, the world's gonna be fine. Like the story will probably be whatever. The gameplay will be decent, but the world will be cool. That's like what you can always expect from a Ubisoft game.
Yeah. And people going, remember when Assassin's Creed was historical?
Oh, I love Assassin's Creed 2.
Yeah, I love that one as well. The best historical part of that one, when it's really historically accurate, is when the last boss is that you're fist fighting the Pope for an alien-made golden apple that mind controls people. Yeah, I like that part. I really like that part. It remind people of that part.
Yeah, GC history glossed over that part.
Yeah, haven't they moved away from that a little bit now? There was a point where they just went, yeah, let's just fucking forget all about that.
They expanded on it quite heavily. So like the golden apple, they chased for a lot of games, and then they kind of found it, and then that kind of now it's about the people who made the golden apple, the Irsu and stuff like that, and how that came to be and stuff like that. So they were aliens, but now they're also like they came to Earth, and then they started being worshipped like gods. So they're like the ancient pantheon and stuff like that.
I don't know about you, but I just like personally did not give a I didn't give a fuck about the future stuff with Desmond Miles, most boring motherfucker in gaming, and I didn't really care about the alien artifacts. I was like, oh, cool, assassins run across old Italy.
Yeah,
cool. It's so weird that they've just like chosen to laser focus on the stuff that I think the majority of people just did not care about.
I mean, the outside of anime stuff was always really weird. That was always like poorly received by people. But I mean, everybody enjoy a little bit of supernatural stuff, I guess. Well, not the people who stopped playing them a long time ago that really wants the old stuff back, but didn't buy the like Syndicate and things like that, so that they had to like switch gears. But you know.
Yeah, I need to get back to the series. I played everything up to Unity. Syndicate, for some reason, just didn't get me. Even though it's in London 10, probably because
Yeah, Syndicate was really well.
Live in London, I just hate it with all my being.
Yeah, Syndicate was the game where I'm like, I don't care about this series anymore. They're all the goddamn same, because You had like the really cool ones where they kept evolving them, and then they added like ship combat in Assassin's Creed 3. Assassin's Creed 3 also started with the supernatural DLCs, stuff like that, with the Tyranny of George Washington DLCs, which were cool as hell. Because essentially it's made it so that you could teleport in the shape of like a spirit bird or something like that off to places, which was kind of nice, like it's made it cool. People like Shadow of Mordor, so probably people would like it in that one as well. That's nice. But then in 4, it was all pirates, and people really liked that because Assassin's Creed 4 is like one of the worst Assassin's Creed games, but it's like the best pirate game out there, hands down.
Assassin's Creed 2 is the best Assassin's Creed game, but gameplay, 4 is just so fucking fun to play. Yeah, so good.
But then they went into Unity, and I think Unity had like a bunch of problems with it at launch. I don't know how really well received that one was, because I don't remember if I cared actually what other people thought about it. But Syndicate people just didn't care about that much because it was starting to become same anyway. And then they started reinventing everything with Origins and that trilogy that they made for Origin, Odyssey, and Valhalla.
Oh, but yeah, I think I played the old Avatar game that was on 360, and that was shit. And I played it through like multiple times because I just love Avatar that much. So yeah, I'll probably be playing that and grinning the entire time, even though it's the most mediocre thing to ever release.
Yeah, I remember it being incredibly mediocre when I played it as well.
Exceptionally mediocre.
All right.
Should probably wrap it up.
Yeah, I think we're wrapping up there. I can rant about anything all the time. Clearly.
All night long, baby.
Yeah.
It's just for those people questioning our dedication, it's currently 4 a.m, so yeah.
It's not that bad.
No, it's like 11 p.m. Well, it's 11 p.m. for us. Fred, are you on the same time zone? I can never remember.
No, it's 12 here.
Oof.
Yeah, I only slept like 5 hours last night as well. So woke up at like 6 in the morning.
Oh, buddy, go to bed. Jeez.
Podcast over, bye.
All right, bye.
Yeah,
bye.
We've kind of gone some tangents there, but yeah, that was a good one. It was fun. So yes, if you want more of this schlop,
it is schlop.
Then say what more schlop, please. That's it. Please. I don't know how to end things. Goodbye.
Goodbye for this time.